Hello, everybody. Welcome to our LinkedIn Live. Daniel Tappan, our head of partnership, and my buddy and friend, thank you for joining us. And everybody, I know I say this a lot, but this time I am really excited to have a friend, a mentor, a person that is considered the top 50 smartest man in business for the past 10 years. And a good friend of mine, a great spirit, a kind soul, John Spence. Thank you so much for honoring us by joining us.
Stop it. My absolute pleasure and honor to be here. I know we're going to have fun.
So, guys, I met John first as a speaker. So I supported an organization. Shout out to Fred Diamond. You're the man. I support an organization that is led by a good friend of mine, Fred Diamond, the Institute of Excellence in Sales. Now, I'm a speaker as well, not as good as you are, but I, as a speaker, when you listen to speakers, John, you're always critical.
Yeah.
Okay? Our bullshit meter is we always are critical, judgmental of other speakers, even if we don't say so. We are always doing that. You spoke. You blew my mind, brother.
Thank you. It's the hardest group to talk to is a group of speakers because everyone would go doing that wrong, did that wrong, should have done this, said that wrong, going too fast. So thank you. That's quite a compliment.
It is. I've seen hundreds of speakers. I cannot say that about them. There's very few speakers that I was blown away by. The amount of information, no rah-rah, no you're not trying to get anybody excited. You're just trying to teach and give. And I love that. So today we're going to discuss, ladies and gentlemen, how we build a team in the age of AI. And we have the best person to do that. You've helped me build my team. You've helped so many other people build their teams. But before we start, can you tell us a little bit about your illustrious career, all the things that you've done, John? Why should everybody listen to you?
Well, now the career doesn't mean everyone should listen to me, but I'll give you the very quick one. I grew up in Miami, Florida, and went to school there, University of Miami, which I promptly failed out of, and moved up to Gainesville, Florida, where I live now. Had to go to community college and then finally got let into UF. I graduated in the top 4 in the United States in my major, was hired by one of the Rockefeller foundations right out of college. Then I became CEO of that foundation when I was 26 years old. I was overseeing projects in 20 countries around the world. I worked directly for Winthrop Rockefeller III. And we had 4 billionaires on our board. Spent a number of years there, and then I went off to work as the CEO, became a partner of a global strategy firm, and did that for several years. Then I went independent, and now for about 30 years, I've been traveling worldwide, helping companies from startups to literally the Fortune 10. And now I just turned 60, and I realized that I have a new quote. I now realize I know very little about almost nothing and almost nothing about everything else, because the more you learn, the more you realize there's more to learn.
I got to say, after I watched you speak, I bought a book that you wrote. Awesomely Simple.
Oh, you're sweet.
It was a long time. It was 10 years ago. Loved it. And
thank you.
What a lot of people say about me, that my gift in life is to explain complex things in simple ways. You do that so incredibly, my friend. And can you tell us a little bit how you guide leadership, how you help people really grow in business? How do you create this magic, John?
Well, let me go back to the making complex things simple. There's a key idea around that. There's 4 key ideas around being among the best in the world at what you do. 4 P's of I read a book, didn't write it, read a book called the Cambridge Handbook of Expertise and Expert Performance, a 978-page book written by experts about how to become an expert. I will save you the reading. 4 P's. First one is passion. And I think it just stands to reason. It's hard to be among the best in the world at what you do if you don't love it. Passion, persistence. And a lot of people will remember Malcolm Gladwell's book and a couple other 10 years, 10,000 hours. So you've got to put your head down for a long time. The third one is practice. And during that time, you need to be constantly practicing, but it's a special kind of practice called deliberate practice. And deliberate practice is you have a coach, a mentor, a colleague, a friend, but someone constantly pushing you to get better. Then when you get to the highest level of expertise, it's pattern recognition. And that's where you and I and other people have an ability to see that pattern and explain the pattern. Instead of having to explain everything, People give me a hard time about my bookshelf behind me. I read about 120 business books a year. And people go, don't they get redundant? I'm like, yeah, it's great. They're redundant because there's a clear pattern. So as you just asked, the way I help companies is I teach them the fundamental patterns of business excellence, leadership, high performance teams. The book you mentioned, Awesomely Simple, is based on one clear pattern, what I call the formula for business excellence. Here it is. Talent plus culture plus extreme customer focus multiplied by disciplined execution equals business excellence.
Love that. Can you repeat that? Because I think this is some brilliance. Please repeat that.
I'll give it a little bit. Talent, the quality of the people that you can get, grow, and keep on your team determines the success of your business, period. Talent plus culture. You have to have a balanced culture of two things, a culture of engagement and passion and loyalty, balanced with a culture of high accountability. Talent culture, extreme customer focus. This is an area that most companies, unfortunately, are pathetic at. And I have a clear understanding of this as whoever owns the voice of the customer owns the marketplace. Talent culture, extreme customer focus multiplied by disciplined execution. The first three ideas are nice, but if you don't execute daily and effectively, they're useless. So that's several thousand books and 30 years into one little formula.
I love that. Now, we are here to talk about, Daniel and I deal with AI a lot. Thank you, Gianna. Hi, nice to see you too. Thank you, Monica. Making complex topics simple is truly a reflection of one's understanding. Truly right. By the way, to the audience, something I learned as a little kid. If you really want to know something, teach it to others. That is the best way to really get something going and get something to be really naturally yours. And you do an amazing job in that. So AI came to our scenes a couple of years ago, and it's changing everything. I know it changed every single way we do business in our company. I know Viacry creates AI tools, but can you tell me what you have done, coaching teams to grow, how has that changed in this era of AI?
So AI is a great addition to, well, it's totally revolutionized my business. We could talk about that in a little while. There are some simple things that make high performance teams. The first thing is very clear shared vision and strategy for growth. AI helps clarify that, make it easy to understand, make it easy to communicate. And one of the things I also think is that using AI to sharpen your vision and to clarify your strategy at a level that would be very challenging before, the clearer that is, the easier it is for your team to be successful. The next part of high performance teams is around being measurable, KPIs, things like that. Obviously, AI is spectacular at identifying the most important areas for the team to focus on and then help in tracking and extrapolating all that data to understand the true effectiveness of the team. The next part of a high performance teams is talent. You can hire smart people. You have to hire smart people. It doesn't mean everybody has to have 4 advanced degrees, but for the job they're doing on the team. But now AI has taken the idea of talent and augmented it again to a level that couldn't be reached. Work that would take one of my team members 3 or 4 days to do, they could do in 3 or 4 hours. I mean, the efficiency is insane. So my handful of employees I have now, it's like they're all multiplied. I've got a larger team of people because I have AI bringing me information, analysis, data, suggestions, recommendations. And then the last thing is around execution, which we just talked about, is the ability to take all those things and effectively execute them daily.
I love that. So,
awesome. And Zeev, I'd actually like to take it a step further. I'm really curious in your experience, being a world credentialed team builder, there's obviously a lot of benefits of onboarding AI as a new team member, but what are some of the pitfalls, John, that you've seen, especially as it pertains to culture, right? Everybody is scared of having robots come and replace. And what are the benefits that you see to culture, but also what are kind of the threats to a healthy team culture?
And well, you just add something small, because this is something we've noticed, and I want to see if you've noticed as well.
Okay.
People have a fear of AI, And some people fear that AI will take their job. So they don't want to interact with AI. They don't want to learn about AI because there is that fear. So just to pinpoint that, because that's something we've noticed. And my wife, who you know, Monica, has a company that actually trains people on AI. And she's been noticing that in a very hard way, that people tend to push AI away because of fear that AI will replace. Why would I help AI replace me? Can you speak about that a little bit?
Yeah, so there's two sides to this. One is, and it's the biggest challenging thing, which just came up during the pandemic, but it's stayed, is how do you create culture at a distance? When I've got people spread out all over the country, like me, all over the world, my team's all over the world. What AI does to me is, because we're more efficient as a team, we can take the time to invest to talk about our families and what's going on and create that bond of friendship and trust, because stuff's running on rails and it's running better. But the pivot point you said is, I see this in my clients too, is I got one that we're going to increase our efficiency, which means all 400 employees went, oh my God, that means they're going to replace us with AI. You cannot be replaced with AI. AI gives you information, but it doesn't give you knowledge. It doesn't give you the way to fit. I'll give a good example. I can do research on strategy, and it can give me amazing answers. But if I don't know the information behind those answers, it's just a list. So what allows people to do is not be replaced, but augment their creativity and their thinking and stuff, and giving you a quick list that then your professional experience, your knowledge, and your ability to interact with others and talk to others and create trust. My financial advisor, I do a lot of work in the financial world. I want my financial advisor to use every AI tool available in everything. But I don't want to talk to the AI about my risk tolerance or my future, or what I want to do for the savings for my wife and I. So the pitfalls, as you said, is fear that I'll be replaced. But I really don't think that's going to happen. But it does mean you're going to have to upskill. And every person's going to bring some unique information, knowledge, expertise, point of view, in addition to the amazing information you can get.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's strange how it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I always like to say AI isn't going to replace people, but people who know how to use AI will replace people that don't.
Bingo.
And so by distancing yourself from AI out of fear, you're actually creating this self-fulfilling prophecy where you will be replaced by someone who knows how to use AI because, you were scared of it rather than being empowered by it. And like you said, left with more time to do what humans do best. And that is build relationships and employ critical thinking that is necessary to actually utilize the outputs from artificial intelligence.
Yeah. But I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm old enough to remember when the internet started. As a consultant, I said, I'm a dead man. Everything I teach is now free on the internet. Anybody can go get it for free. Luckily, people are lazy. they want someone else to compile all that and give it to them. So my job didn't go away. It actually became easier because people said there's too much information. We need John to come and teach it. Then when AI came out, a lot of, like, at the top of the list of professions that will be replaced potentially is consultants. I think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened in my career. I could not imagine doing my job 2 years ago the way I do it now. Unimaginable. Nowhere near as effective.
I could not go back in time and do that, man. I literally could not. So, John, we'll continue this, but there's a couple of interesting questions from the audience. So Gianna's asking, John, what is your number one advice for a young professional looking to grow and become as knowledgeable and successful as you? Do you have a little bit of advice for Gianna?
Yeah, a couple of things. One is read. The average global business person reads a half a book a year. If you were to spend 15 minutes a day, every day, and it's not just reading, it's watching YouTube videos, reading blogs, reading articles, but absorbing knowledge that will help you get better at your job, skills-based knowledge. If you were to read or do the equivalent of 6 books a year, you're in the top 5% on the face of the earth. If you did 12 books a year, you're in the top 1%. I've been doing 100 to 120 a year since 1989. Doesn't make me a genius, just means I have access to more information. The other thing is mentors. My life has been changed completely by a handful of mentors that stepped in and gave me their experience and knowledge and suggestions and recommendations. So I'm a big fan for everybody should have a mentor or several mentors. The other one is an idea of a mastermind group. And it would be the same as a study group in college. I failed out of college first try because I didn't ask for help. I can handle this myself. I came from a top prep school. 1.6 GPA. When I restarted college, one of my professors actually said, there's 3 things it takes to get A's in college, straight A's in college. And I believe it's the same thing in life. He said, number 1, read the books. He said, at least in college, 99% of the answers aren't in the books. Or are in the books, 99. Number 2, ask for help. Ask everybody. A lot of people think it's weak to ask for help. That's exactly the reverse. It is courageous and strong. Yeah. The most successful people I've worked with in my entire career were awesome at asking for help, input, advice, suggestions, criticism. And then the third thing he said is start study groups. And I started a study group. It was about 15 people, then 10, then 12. I got down to 6 of us. 6 of us had studied together, went to class together, had the same major. We walked numbers 1 through 6 from our college because I was surrounded by bright, sharp, smart, talented people that had the same goal. For anyone creating a group like that, basically a study group. When I became a CEO, I started a study group, a mastermind group of CEOs under the age of 30, then under 40. When I hit 50, I stopped putting numbers on it. But fast forward today, I have a mastermind group, a study group of 17 CEOs that I get together with about every 45 days. We have reading assignments. We bring in guest speakers. We teach each other. If one of us has a problem, we bring it up and the rest help solve it. Then the other thing I think is really cool is we pick a charity every year, and all 17 of us will focus on what can we do for that charity this year. So it's not just about helping ourselves, but it's about helping our community too.
I got some goosebumps. I love that. Gianna just said, I read every day, but I read fiction. So I'll take the advice and shift my genres. You should. Great advice, John. Thank you. We have another question coming up for you, John. Nelson Guzman asks, now is the process to use AI, how is the process to use AI? Define what AI and how can it be used? How complex is it to create the programs or algorithms?
That's you guys, not me.
No worries. So I'll take that. So first of all, how is the process of using AI? Be a child, Nelson. Okay? Play. Have fun. Enjoy just playing with it. Before you do anything else, go to free things and play with it. Play with ChatGPT. Play with Midjourney. Understand how it works. And AI is basically, the way I look at an AI is like, think about a very smart engineer. Take, the smartest engineer but then make it completely culturally inept. It doesn't know anything about culture, and give it like as English as a third language. Okay? So the person's brilliant, but he doesn't understand your culture, and his language skills is not that good. So you got to make sure it understands. Okay? So people laugh at me sometimes because when I do speaking, John, I stop a lot of times and I ask, does that make sense? Do you understand? Because it's important for me to get that audience to tell me that, yeah, we got it, I can move on. I do that times 5 with an AI. Okay? Every time I say something, do you understand? Okay? Repeat to me what it is that you understand. Ask me questions to clarify. So talk to an AI like they're brilliant, but culturally they're foreign, and maybe English is a third language, and you'll do amazingly well. And then ask the AI to ask you questions. So I'm going to pull up Nelson's question again just to make sure I haven't missed any part. So what is the process to use AI? So start playing. Define what is AI and how it can be used. Great question. There's a lot of AIs, okay? Generative AIs, chatbots. So start with a chatbot. And the first thing I would recommend you to do is just use it as an assistant or as a wall for ideas. Ask it what it thinks, how you can do things better. Teach it about yourself. Danny and I tell this to every company. If you don't give AI, if you give AI crap, you get back crap. Okay, that's just how it works. So you need to equip the AI with all the information that's coming. Nelson, I hope that answers how complex it is to create the programs and algorithms. It's not that complex if you know what you're doing, okay? Now, what we recommend to every company is you gotta close a knowledge base, secure it, so that knowledge cannot leak and your IP will be kept. And then you should have an AI go and learn that and use that knowledge in the way that you would like. Nelson, I hope that helped. If that didn't, please feel free to share another question.
Let me give a case study here real quick.
Please.
I've got a client, I do a lot of work in the credit union industry, who's asked me to help them create a strategy. In the past, doing the research for that would have been a month. I created a special chatbot. I loaded in things on the industry, did their major competitors, a few other things. Now I call it, the name of the company is a legacy analyst. And I asked for strategy ideas, for suggestions, for competitive analysis. The amount of information it pulled down was mind-boggling. In the past, that would have been days of research and probably would have cost me thousands of dollars. And I did in an hour everything I would have done. That is the kind of use case. And like you said, I trained it. I gave it information. I asked it questions. It asked me questions. It took a little while to refine it, but now I have a little chatbot that is my assistant whenever I do work for a credit union.
Love that. So guys,
perfect.
Every client we have, we start an AI for it. We load a knowledge base with all the stuff that we know. So now we have like a sounding board that only knows about that company. Every client that comes into our company gets their own AI for our internal use, not for their use. They can get that too, but for our internal use. Now, John, there is a couple of fun questions. May I share a couple?
Please.
A LinkedIn user, what advice do you have, if any, around creating a governance framework in your organization to encourage proper and ethical use of AI? Whoever this LinkedIn user is, great question. Daniel, why don't you take a shot at this, and then John, if you'd like, please.
Sure.
Yeah, seeing as John's the team building guy, I'd love to get his insights. But simply put, LinkedIn user, if you want to govern it, and I'm going to steal this from Zeev, but when we implement AI for a client or even in our own company, as a starting point, we treat it as an employee that we are now bringing onto our team. So this is not a software or a tool that we can just launch like a typical SaaS product that you would have, or software. It's an actual person, and we want to treat it as such. And that means putting in the right parameters, the right security, hosting it perhaps on your own servers to make sure that everything it does is governed by your credentials. So, and I'm not sure where your knowledge is at here, but for our audience, if you use an open source AI, something like ChatGPT, that its knowledge base is the internet, which sounds impressive, right? The entire internet, all the knowledge from the world, but the internet's full of garbage. And so and falsities and lies. And so if that knowledge base is its basis for truth, then that's kind of what you can expect, right? Garbage in, garbage out. So first and foremost, you build a proprietary knowledge base that is its single source of truth and context. That's gonna be the entire framework to govern this AI use. The other thing is credentialing, right? You can give it a credit card, you can give it login information, but all of that needs to be governed and restricted by that knowledge base and laser focused prompts. If you give it room for creativity, that's what's known as hallucination. And it's actually the creative part of AI. It's not a failure of it, but it certainly is not something that you want in your organization, as it could present a safety hazard. So that would be my 2 cents. John, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. So from a governance model standpoint, I'm doing this for one of my clients right now. It's actually the same client. I know a lot about the industry, and I asked, what are the ethical standards we need to follow? What are the regulations? What are the, for this kind of a company? Loaded that in, got an answer. Then I went to another AI, got the answer. Then I went to another and another, and I got about 10 of them and compiled them. I asked the AI to summarize it. Then here's where it gets interesting. That's a great list, but it was my 30 years of experience that I could pick through it and say, okay, that works, this doesn't work, this will work. I was able to put together a governance framework, a report for them that was better than I could do off the top of my head or 2 or 3 days. But it was excellent for what they needed, and it still needed to work through their board and some refinement. I'll give you guys another really quick example. I've been teaching a very high-level executive class at the Wharton School of Business, several classes for them for about 26 years. And one of mine is on the future of business. 3 years ago, AI did not exist. 2 years ago, I went in and I have about 120 senior executives in my future business class. All of them are running multi-billion-dollar companies, and they are very high level. 2 years ago, I asked them, how many of you know anything about AI, have ever used it? Out of 120, 3 people put their hands up. 2 of them said, I know about it, but I've never used it. And one of them said, my kid showed me. This year, all 120 hands went up, and we had a very robust, and this is the financial industry, about the big positives and then some very serious ethical issues and concerns because of deep fakes and other things like that. It's a challenging area to look, but it's not going away. Let's just put it this way. There is no putting the genie back in the bottle. This is the way we will do work going forward forever.
100%. And the next natural step, and we've done this before and certainly will in the future, but discuss the application of blockchain, right? The marriage of AI and blockchain to account for a lot of those ethics, to kind of loop back and answer, LinkedIn users' question here. As part of that governance, blockchain is going to play an integral role to validate the authenticity of videos, audio, inputs, email. All of that will be tagged with blockchain, and if it's not on the chain, it's not going to be recognized or accepted, and so everything is going to actually increase in security. But right now, we have early AI adoption. That's the hot buzzword, but blockchain, people think it's cryptocurrency, and that's the extent of their knowledge. They don't understand the real application.
So we're kind of, I don't want to lose our audience with blockchain and crypto, but I have a lot to say. So first of all, LinkedIn user said, great for the feedback. Thanks. We appreciate your question. I got a lot to share with you on this. So the first thing you got to do is train your own team. Okay. The first thing you need to do is train your team into what to use AI. And there's 2 different use systems of AI. You can use open AIs for everything that you want that doesn't have IP, intellectual property, doesn't have your special sauce. So you can use that as an assistant, as a chatbot. But when you're putting the special sauce of either your company, you must put it in a protective knowledge base. You can't just throw it out there. If not, you're throwing your IP away. Now you got to create rules and regulations. I do not hire people that refuse to work with AI. And I will let go of people from my team if they're not going to put AI in everything in their process. That's where everything is going. I equip John, and I would love to hear what you have to say about it. I think AI is gunpowder. Okay. And I think all the businesses out there have a choice. You can either continue shooting bows, arrows, and swords, which are cool, but I can kill you from 100 feet now. So what are you going to do? So that's the choice. And like you said, everybody's making the right choice because it's pretty clear. A year ago, most of them had no idea. Now everybody knows. Now, what I want to talk to you guys in the couple of minutes we have left, we have a couple more questions too, but is use cases of AI. You talked about talent, and I have such a cool use case for that. So we've trained an AI on my personality. And whenever we hire somebody, let's say we want to hire an assistant for me, okay? The AI will tell me, okay, what types of personality would work as an assistant. When I bring in the people, I put their personality, their resume, and the AI basically tells me what would be the best way for us to work together and if this is even feasible for them to be chief of staff, assistant, project manager, social media. Like based on how they're going to interact with me and with the leadership, the AI tells us which personality types and how it's going to work. It is so cool, John. It took us, a few hours, maybe a couple of days to make it happen, but now we do it. You talked about research. We used to do SEO research for 80 hours for every client, okay? 80 hours. We now have an AI that does those 80 hours within 60 seconds, okay? So we're just cut 80 hours. But again, if I give that research to some junior person, okay, it's worthless, completely worthless. But if I give it to you, John, gold. Okay, which brings me to the point of who are the best. John, I'm going to ask you this question, and we'll go around the three of us. Who is the best AI user? Like, who is like the best AI user in your opinion? Describe the persona of the best AI user.
Someone who's incredibly curious, who has enough knowledge base, they know what questions to ask, is patient to be able to do, iterate, and discerning enough to check the information and understand what might be hallucination. But the big one is you've got to be creative enough to ask this question, then that question, then this question, then that question, and have enough patience to work through the conversation and the chat to where you start to generate really useful data. Someone who just throws some stuff in there and takes the first thing out ain't going to work. So that's what my persona would be.
Love that.
What I would look for.
Absolutely. And to add on to that, I think it requires a base knowledge, an incredibly strong base knowledge, right? Otherwise, like you said, John, you could have a great report, but it's your in-depth knowledge that allows you to make sense of it and that application of critical thinking to turn it into gold. And the other thing is good communication skills. Like actually being able to have a conversation back and forth with the AI, describe things in detail, give extra context. And I know a lot of folks that fall in a bad habit of assuming the AI is a super intelligence and they give it bare bones instead of talking to it with immense detail and using more words and more descriptors. And I think that's really key to make sure the AI gets everything it needs and more.
I love you. I'll go direct. The persona of the best AI user is a 40-year-old woman that has 15 years of experience. That's the best AI user. So women have more patience than men. Correct me if I'm wrong, John. Women are more detail-oriented than men. Women give more detail, more context. They speak more. My wife says, women speak 20,000 words a day. Men speak 7. We try to make things quick. But it's not a female that is a student or a female that just started her career. It's somebody with 15 years of experience, somebody that made mistakes. That is really crucial, guys. The best AI users are people that actually made mistakes in the past, okay? People that fell on their face, people that understand what it is to make a mistake, and then you can use it better. So in my humble opinion, the best user for an AI is a lady who's been through a few things around, the age of 40 or above. That is the Superman of AI users, okay? Now, you and I, John, are much better AI users, much better. I bet you and I can do an AI things that students wouldn't even dream of. But that's because you and I have been around the block. We've solved problems without AI. Now with AI, we're like, whoa, this just shortens the. So what I want people to understand is AI is much better used if you have experience and if you know, and if you have the patience, and if you've built through these things before. Now, Nelson is asking, and we're getting a little short of time, but there's a lot more questions to answer. John, do you have a few more minutes for us?
No, I'm cool. You guys are running the show. I'm here just to make stuff up.
Like AI. So Nelson asked a question. I'll go first, and then I would love for you guys to answer. Is AI creating or just acting fast according to a routine? Difference with a computer? I'm not quite sure I understand the secondary question, but I'm pretty sure I understand the first one. AI, if AI would just act fast, that's not AI, that's just automation. Okay? Automation has been around for a long time. I've been dealing with automation for 15 years now. So if you just want something that copy-paste something, that's not AI. That's automation. There's different ways to automation, different levels to it. But what AI does, okay, it actually, the hallucination part of it, that's the part of it actually thinking. Now, if you're smart enough to understand what's right or wrong, you can negate that. But AI is not just fast acting, okay? And you can train an AI of how to think. That's the whole beauty of it. You can train an AI of a path of how to solve a problem. Now, if you only do copy pasting in a fast way, that's not AI, and that's something we've been able to do for many years before. I hope, Nelson, that answers your question. Guys, do you want to take a shot?
I've got
a
couple things I think would be good to add on top of that for Nelson. So first things first, generative AI, it does generate, right? But that's very different than creation. Like the art of creativity and bringing something new into existence. AI is incapable of solving new problems that have never been encountered before. It just can't. It operates on a knowledge base and a prompt. So think of it as its inventory and then its goal, its objective. And based on what it knows, it will then take from that and give you what the prompt requests or the desired output. Now, if the knowledge base isn't good or if the prompt isn't on point, then the output is going to reflect that. But it's not capable of creating anything new. If it doesn't have the knowledge in the knowledge base, it won't give you an output.
So it's able, very much able. The problem is it usually will be wrong. So that's the difference, Nelson. That's the difference between AI and copy pasting. If the information is not there, AI will 100% invent something. Now you can intercept that and you can make sure you don't use that, but that is what AI does. So think about a child, okay? You ask a child a question they don't know. What do? They use their imagination. That's artificial intelligence. Okay, so hallucination is now it's going to get better, and right now it's usually kind of crazy, but that is the intelligence part. So you can't hate on it because that's really the artificial intelligence. Now, let's share another question. One of the biggest challenges we encounter when we help companies integrate AI to their business's structure is the immune system response, getting the whole team to buy in and use it every day. How do you work with your clients and teams to do this? John, do you mind taking a first shot at this?
No, this is easy. Not easy, but when people are faced with it, they perceive as negative change, their response can be the same as when someone close to them dies. I mean, it's an algorithm it's a pattern of, I can't believe this is happening. I'm frozen, to there's no way to anger, to depression, all the way through it. So the way to move people through that quickly, the change process, and there's about 9 steps, but I'll just go over the first 4. Number 1 is what I call an irresistible case for change. Not irresistible as chocolate cake. Irresistible as you have no choice. So step 1 is tell people AI ain't going away, period. We are using it. It's part of your job. If you don't like that, you can find someplace else to work, but you have no choice in this. Irresistible case for change. Number 2 is a compelling vision of the future. But here's the great stuff we can do. It's going to help you. It's not going to replace you. Get all this new data. You're going to be more efficient. It's going to be awesome. It's cool. It's interesting. So this exciting vision that you go towards. Number 3 is a sense of urgency. If you let it drag too long, people will start to resist. This will go away. This AI thing's just a fad. So you got to move them quickly. Then the 4th, which I think is an important one, is what's called a guiding coalition. And that's when you get a couple of key people in your company to become change champions. AI is great. AI is fantastic. Here's how we used it. Here's how it's helped the client. If you get those things in place, and it not just AI, but any kind of a change in a company, the change is coming. You have no choice. Here's how great the future will be. Let's go now. And then let me get a team of people cheering everyone in that direction. And then I'll add to it and then look for small wins, get momentum. Wow, this worked great. This worked great. This worked great, to show people slowly as they incorporate it, all the good things that are happening.
Another thing that I find is find a case study that everybody hates doing. Like find something that everybody doesn't like. Find something in the company that everybody's trying to push to somebody else and make that easy through AI. People are going to start, oh, wow, like AI can take the work that I don't want to do and do it for me in a way that I can just like look at something. That's the way to get it. And this is really difficult. And I've actually let go of people in my organizations that I pushed, and people that I truly liked, and we still have a great relationship, but I pushed them to do AI. I told them what to do, but the resistance was so hard. I was just, you know what, this is how we're going to do things. If that's not the way you want to do it, great, but you can't do it here. So I've actually dealt with that, and it was difficult, but everything is moving to AI. And if you don't see it, you have a choice. You either adapt or you're not with us.
We have our team is completely the opposite. We have a competition to see who can learn this better. We are shooting articles back and forth. We are like, if we create some new bot, we put a link to it and send it to each other. I explain how I created this. I look at someone's emails and they're like, wow, this is beautiful. Here's the program I created to write the emails that sound like our company. So we're constantly challenging each other to come up with the best new idea around AI that will help our company. So there's no resistance here. If anything, it's like, how can we learn it faster?
Oh, there is no resistance now, but anybody that did resist, I had a really experienced digital graphic designer that I liked, and he was a great guy, and I wanted to continue working with him, but he just, I think he felt threatened by it, so he didn't do it. So I told him, hey, good luck somewhere else. It's not going to work here. But most of our team is so much into AI, but you got to make sure that the AI is not the end all be all.
Right.
AI is a tool. It's not the whole process. Awesome. So now we have another question to deal with. Ian is asking, personal experience brings so much value to using AI. To John's point, you need to be curious, knowledgeable enough to ask the right question and to be able to see the hallucinations so you're not misguided. 100%, Ian. John, do you want to interject?
Well, you said it earlier, play with it. Get in, the only reason, and not the only, but think I'm pretty knowledgeable now or fairly efficient with AI. But in the beginning, it took hours and hours of practice, but I approach it like play. Well, let's try this. Let's try that. Oh, that doesn't work. I've also learned to ask the AI how to improve what I'm doing. You probably wouldn't get into it, but I'm building some memory into my Chat GPT-4. So I asked it, I put in a whole bunch of stuff on my background. I said, did I give you too much data? And it went, yes. You've got a lot of redundancy here. You've got stuff that isn't important. Here, let me clean this up for you. I went, wow. And then the AI said, this is going to be much easier for me to learn from. So I've actually turned, and then the other thing I do is I use like 3 or 4 different AIs just to see what each one says. So I'll ask for output in this one, then I'll go ask the same question, then the same question, then I combine them and go, all right, what's the pattern? What are the key things that all of the AI is saying that I can then use as a base knowledge to move forward?
This is exactly timely. So, John, any recommendation on AI tools to lean on when building your proprietary AI model?
I use Claude. I use Gemini. I use ChatGPT-4. I've got a couple. Well, I do a lot of writing, so I use AIs like Hemingway and Grammarly to help me clean up all my writing and stuff. Those are the 3 main. I've tried a couple more, but those 3 work well for me. I pay for Claude for the upper Opus, I think it is. I pay for the upgraded ChatGPT Plus. Right now I'm using Gemini for free, and it's just sort of my checker because I can use that as much as I want, ask 1,000 questions. I don't run out of space. And I have all 3 of those on my dashboard right now. I will click and I use Google to find some information, then I load it in. So I'm using multiple systems. And even though I'm doing the redundancy, it is dramatically faster than if I actually had to go and do the research myself.
100%.
Yeah.
So LinkedIn user, recommendation on AI tools. Start with the free stuff out there, see what's working for you. We always use the paid version of everything. It's just a better way of doing stuff. Now, we also use the team version of stuff, which is a little bit more expensive, but then we can collaborate inside the team on the same GPTs, the same chats, the same Geminis, the same Claudes. So don't be shy, okay? People are shy to pay 20, 25, 50 bucks a month to use this. Seriously, like we spend more on that on coffee on a weekly basis. So invest in yourself, okay, and play with it. So I'll give you a list of tools that I use on a daily basis. So the 3 that you said, John, 100%. Love Claude, love ChatGPT 4.0, love Gemini. We're partners of Gemini, and they're doing amazing things. There are open sources for Meta and for Meta that we use all the time. Okay, so those are LLMs that are completely open source, and we use them all the time. I use small tools like Otter AI. Every Zoom meeting I have, somebody transcribes it, and then I have a whole thing ready for my assistant to either listen, do whatever it needs to happen. I use Midjourney all the time, okay? People use Wall-E, which is kind of like the Midjourney of the ChatGPT. I like Midjourney better, and from somebody that cannot draw a cow to save their lives, I sold art, okay? Like, that's mind-boggling. So Midjourney blew my mind because I can think really clearly. I can't use my hand, but now just by thinking, I can create gorgeous, beautiful art. And if you guys don't know what Midjourney is, go check it out, okay? You can actually tell Midjourney to create something, get a picture, but use any Leibovitz way of photography to do that. Create Van Gogh style. Like, there's so many cool things that you do. So LinkedIn user, hopefully that helped. Daniel, any other tools that you use that you want to recommend?
The only thing I would recommend outside of the actual tools, because I think, like you said, if you're looking to learn, there's plenty of free stuff. If you want to do the paid version, it's 100% worth every penny. But as far as resources, I mean, it's the internet. There's lots of great training out there. In fact, through Quantum Leap, we have a full training course. We can walk you through how to build your own GPT and make it really, really simple. So for LinkedIn user and for Nelson, like if that's something you're curious, just DM me. I'll get you the free course, so you guys can go through and play around with all the different tools. But 4.0 is my favorite, and we can use it to make like voice clones and all sorts of cool stuff. That's just really fun.
And guys, just on a small, like, I use 4.0 for so many things that have nothing to do with work. I find flights on ChatGPT. I do so many like things. I do research, so many things. Like, I play with my kids. Like, we create all kinds of like animals. There's so many things you can do. So play with it and don't be shy. This is a beautiful comment from Nelson. Thank you for the information you shared. I have to start reading, using, absolutely, and playing. This is my time to re-engineer myself and bring new technologies. Let me continue reading this. And bring new technologies to the table. Nelson, good job, man. Guys, play, okay? Have fun. This is new for everybody. There's nobody in this world that is a true expert in this because there hasn't been enough time to play with it. So everybody play. Now, I want everybody to follow John on LinkedIn, follow his insights, read his books. I've learned so much from this incredible man. And John, as our hairstyles show, you and I were born in a world without computers, right? Okay? And when computers, I don't know who remembers this, but when computers first came out, people were scared. Okay? People said it's going to take their jobs. People didn't want to. Computers did not take our jobs, right? Not at all. When the internet came together, same thing. Smartphone came, same thing. AI is not going anywhere. AI is the invention of fire in our businesses. If you're smart, you're going to use fire. If you're not, you're going to just die out. So, John, please share a little bit about how to connect with you. Everybody follow John, and please finish our amazing AI discussion. Thank you so much for joining us. You are such a breath of knowledge, man.
It's my pleasure. And what I'll offer, it's easy to find me, johnspence.com. But if anyone has follow-up questions or needs more information or ideas from a business standpoint or how I use it, it's pretty simple. My email is john@johnspence.com. I answer all my own emails personally. I don't use a bot. And if it is truly important or urgent, write that in all caps in the headline, and I will get to it as fast as I possibly can. And I'm going to just echo what Zeev and everybody else said is, it's not going away. Use it, have fun, and you will find out that it's not going to take jobs away. It's going to allow people to be massively more productive in a much shorter time so they can be more creative. They can try new things. They can talk to more customers, all the things that help you run a successful business.
Awesome. Everybody follow this man right here, John Spence, incredible. Read the books, follow on LinkedIn, go on the website, john@johnspence.com. Truly, you'll gain so much. Thank you, everybody. We're looking forward for next week. John, you're the best.